Warriors into the Wild by Aaron Hunter. Chapter 1. It was very dark. Rusty could sense something was near. The young tomcat's eyes opened wide as he scanned the dense undergrowth. This place was unfamiliar, but the strange sense drove him onward, deeper into the shadows. His stomach growled, reminding of his hunger. He opened his jaw slightly, let the warm smells of the forest reach the scent glance at the roof of his mouth. Musty odors of sleep mold mingled with the tempering aroma of the small furry creature. Suddenly, a flash of gray raced past him. Rusty stopped still, listening. It was hiding in the leaves blasting the 2 lengths away. Rusty knew it was a mouse. He could feel the restless pulsing of his tiny heart deep within his ear fur. He swallowed, slipping his rumbling stomach. Soon his hunger will be satisfied. Slowly he lowered his body into positions, crouching for the attack. He was downwind of the mouse. He was even not aware of him. With one final check in the prey's position, Rusty pushed back hard in the haunches and sprang, kicking up the leaves on the forest floor as it rose. The mouse dived for cover, heading through the hole in the ground, but Rusty was already top at it. He scooted up in the air, hooking some helpless creature with his thorn-sharp claws, filling it hard arc to the leaf-covered ground. The mouse landed dazed but alive. It turned to run, but Rusty snatched it up again. He took the mouse one more, this time a little further away. The mouse was making to scramble a few paces before Rusty caught up with it. Suddenly, a noise rolled nearby. Rusty looked around, and as he did so, the mouse was able to fall away from his cause. When Rusty fell back, he saw darkness among the tangled roots of the tree. Angry, Rusty gave up the hunt. He spun around, his green eyes glaring, intent of searching out the noise that had caused him his kill. The sound read on, becoming more familiar. Rusty blinked open his eyes. The forest had disappeared. He was inside the hot and airless kitchen, curled up in his bed. Moonlight filtered through the window, catching shadows on the smooth, hard floor. The noise had been written on hard, dry petal food, as they were tempered to his dish. Rusty had been dreaming. Lifting his head, he reached on the chin and the side of the bed. His collar was unfortunately around his neck. In his dream, he had felt fresh air ruffling in the soft fur where the collar pinched. Rusty lowered in his back, suffering the dream for more moments. He could still smell mouse. It was the 3rd time since the full moon that he had the dream. And every time the mouse had escaped his grasp, he licked his lips. From his bed, he could smell the bland odor of his food. He had almost all refilled the dish before they went to bed. The dusty smell chased away from the warm touch of his dream, but the hunger rumbled in the stomach, so Rusty turned asleep in the news and patted across the kitchen floor to his dinner. The food felt dry and tasteless on his tongue. Rusty resolutely swallowed one more mouthful. Then he turned away in the food dish and pushed his way out of the cat flap, hoping that the smell of the garden would bring back the feelings from his dream. Outside, the moon was bright. It was raining lightly. The Rusty still down in the tiny garden, following the starlight gray path, feeling the stone cold and sharp beneath his paws. He made the steps beneath the long bush with glowing green leaves and happy purple flowers. The thickest sweet scent cooled the dim air around him as he curled his lips to drive the smell out of his nostrils. Afterward, Rusty settled down on the top of the fence and the fence that marked the limits of his garden. It was a favorite spot of his, and he could see right into the neighboring gardens as well into a dense green forest on the other side of the garden fence. The rain had stopped. Behind him, The close-cut lawn was battled in moonlight, but the beyond fence of the wood were full of shadows. Rusty stretched his head forward to take a sniff of the damp air. His skin was warm, dry under his thick coat, but he could feel the weight of the raindrops that sparkled on the ginger fur. He heard his owner giving one last call from the back door. If he wanted them now, they will greet him with gentle words and careless and welcome him onto their bed, where he could curl, purring, warm in the crook of the bent knee. But this time, Rusty ignored his owner's voice and turned his gaze back to the forest. The quick smile of the wood had grown fresher after the rain. Suddenly, the forest smelled pickled. Was something moving out there? Was something watching him? Rusty stared ahead, but it was impossible to see or smell anything in the dark trees and the air. He lifted his chin body, stood up, and stretched. One paw gripping each other's fence post as he stretched his legs and arched his back. He closed his eyes and breathed in the smell of the woods once more. It seemed to be promising something, tapping on the old word into a whisper in shadows. Tensing his muscles, he touched for a moment, then leaped lightly down the rough grass on the other side of the garden fence. As he landed, the bell and the collar rang out in the still in the night. "Where are you off to, Rusty?" mailed a familiar voice behind him. Rusty looked up. A young black and white cat was balancing uprooted on the fence. "Hello, Smudge," Rusty replied. "You're not going to the woods, are you?" Smudge's amber eyes were huge. "Just for a look," Rusty promised, tripping uncomfortably. "You wouldn't get me there. It's dangerous." Smudge winkled his black nose in distance. "Henry said he went into the woods once." Cat lifted his head in the direction of his nose over the roads and the fence toward the garden where Henry lived. "That fat old tabby near went to the woods?" Rusty stuffed. "It's hardly been beyond the own garden since his trip with the bat. And he wants to take a eat and sleep." "Not really. He caught a robin there," Smudge insisted. "Well, if he did, then it was not before the vet. Now he complains about birds because they disrupt his dozing." "Well, anyway," Smudge went on, ignoring the story of the Rusty's meow, "Henry told me there's all sorts of dangerous animals out there. Huge wildcats who eat live rabbits for breakfast and sharp their claws on old bones." "I'm only going for a look around," Rusty meowed. "I won't stay long." "Well, don't say I didn't warn you," purred Smudge. The black and white cat turned and plugged back to the fence back into his own garden. Rusty sat down in the coarse gray beyond the garden fence. He gave his shoulder a nervous lick and wondered how much the Smudge with Gussie was true. Suddenly, the movement of the tiny creature caught his eye. He watched it settle under some brambles. Instinct made him drop into a low crouch. With one slow paw after another, he drew his body forward from the undergrowth. Ears pricked, nose left reared, eyes unblinking. He moved toward the animal. He could see it clearly now. Sitting among the barbed branches, nibbling on the large seed held behind the paws. It was a mouse. Rusty rocked his haunches from side to side, preparing to leap. He held his frenzied case in the barrel ring again. Excitement coursed through him, making his heart pound. This was ever better than his dreams. Suddenly, a noise of cracking twigs and catching leaves made him jump. His bell jingled treacherously, and the mouse darted away in the thickest tangle of the bamboo bush. Rusty stood still and looked around. He could see the white tip of Bushy's red bushy tail, throwing through the clump of the tail force up ahead. It smelled strong, strange scent. Definitely a meat eater. but neither cat or dog. Distraught, Rusty forgot about the mouse and watched the reptile curiously. He wanted a better look. All of Rusty's senses turned ahead as he pushed forward and detected other noise. It came from behind, but sound must and descent. He switched his ear backward to hear it better. Paw steps? He wondered, but he kept his eye fixed on the strange red bird up ahead and continued to creep onward. It was only the fan rustling behind him, the louds of fast approaching the lead crackle, that Rusty realized he was in danger. The creature hit him like an explosion, and Rusty was thrown sideways in the clump of nettles. Twisting and yelling, he tried to stir the attacker, and the fetcher snapped to his back. It was gripping him with incredibly sharp claws. Rusty could feel straight teeth and pricking at his neck. It spread and squirmed from whisker to tail, but he didn't free himself. For a second, he felt helpless. Then he froze. Thinking fast, he flipped over his back, knowing cleverly how dangerous it was to explode his soft belly, but it was only his chance. It was lucky. The pulley seemed to work. He started hopping and on there, and Bruce was not on the attacker. Thrashing furiously, Rusty meddled the wriggle free. Without looking back, he sprinted towards his home. Behind him, the rush of paw steps told Rusty his attacker was giving a chase. Even through the pain of the scratches, some beneath his fur, Rusty decided he would rather one turn and fight than let them be jumped on again. It skidded to stop, spun around, and faced his pursuer. But it was another kitten with a thick coat of shaggy gray fur, strong legs, and a brown face, and a heartbeat Rusty smelled that was a Tom. And it sent the power in the surgeon's shoulders underneath the soft coat, and then the kitten crushed into Rusty at the full pelt. Taken by surprise, Rusty turned about. It fell based on the dead's head. The impact knocked the brains out of Rusty, and he staggered. He quietly found rooting and returned his back, puffing an orange fur, ready to spring the other kitten. But instead, the attacker simply sat up and began to lick a forepaw. All signs of aggression gone. Rusty felt strangely disappointed. Every part of him was attacked ready for battle. "Hi there, kitty pet," meowed the great Tom cheerily. "You could have caught a fight for the tame kitty." Rusty reminded Tip for a sound. Wondered whatever to attack anyway. Then he remembered the strength he had in the frozen kitten paws when he pinned him to the ground. He dropped onto his pad, losing his muscles, and his eyes spent. "I'll fight you again if I have to," he growled. "I'm Great Paw, by the way," the great kitten went on, ignoring Rusty's threat. "I'm training to be a thunderclap warrior." Rusty remained silent. He didn't understand what the great was meowing about. But he sensed the stress and past, confused by letting her lick his powerful chest. "What's a caterpillar like you doing out in the woods? Don't you know it's dangerous?" asked Grandpa. "If you are the most dangerous thing in the woods have to offer, then I think I can handle it," Rusty bluffered. Grandpa looked at him for a moment, nuzzling his black eyes. I'm far from the most dangerous. If I were even half a warrior, I could get in a truck like you, some real ones to think about." Rusty felt thrilled in the first and the ambiguous words. What did the cat mean by intruder? "Anyway," meowed Grandpa, using his sharp teeth to tongue out clumps in the grass and beneath his claws. "I didn't think it was worth hurting you. You're obviously not from one of the other clans." "Other clans?" Rusty echoed, confused. Grandpa let an impatient cease. "You must have heard of the 4 warrior clans that hunt around here. I belong to Thunder Clan. The other clans were trying to set free in our territory, especially the Shadow Clan. They're so furious they get ripped into the shed, no questions asked." Grandpa got to spit angry and continued. "They come to take prey on the roughly hours. It's the job of the ThunderClan warrior to keep them out of our territory. When I have finished my training, I'll be so dangerous. I have to beat other clans sharing their filled-bitten skins. They would dare come near us then. Rusty narrows his eyes. This was the one wildcat Smudge had warned us about. Living rough in the woods, hunting and fighting each other for every scrap of food. Yet Rusty didn't feel scared. In fact, it was hard to admire the confident kitten. So you're not a warrior yet? He asked. Why? Did I think I was? Graypo purred proudly. Then he shook his white furry head. I won't be a real warrior for ages. I have to go through the training first. Cats have to be 6 months before they begin training. Tonight is my first night out on my epic experience.